you have the like all like if there was a CrossFit Games of arm wrestling and all aspects of it, that's where I give you the title of like greatest of all time, because you can do everything in the sport. That's what's most impressive to me about T. Bagent. I mean, like, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's unbelievable, actually. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
You know what?
And here's the thing. So I always, at first, just wanted to be the best, right? And then I realized that I didn't really just want to be the best at what we had. Like, let's make something special. So then, if you were the best at that, it would be a lot cooler. So I think that's what drove me to want to give away some cash and find out some information. And it led to me having to referee some of the tournaments, having to do the brackets at some of the tournaments. And then really, it just, from announcing and reffing, I really kind of learned, I think, of everything about what guys were doing and what they were feeling. And then I could see, you know, when you're 5 foot away from the table, you can see all the mistakes that are happening from the posture and the angles that you can't see at the table. So, and then, you know, after a while, you hear a jiu-jitsu announcer, he just talking normal because that's what he does. He does jiu-jitsu all the time. So it definitely led to a hyper focus on all aspects of arm wrestling and wanting the product, like I said, to be big and awesome so that we could finally like make some money and make it, you know, cool to be the champ.
So when you and I were on the phone like a month ago, you were like, I got an idea. Had I fully started pumping out videos? I'm not sure, but you're like, I got an idea. Reality show. I want you to film. It was like we got right back. I mean, you were still hustling. I thought to myself, I'm like, I feel so bad. I feel so guilty. Here I was. I had to get a job. Luckily, Devon Matosian, and if you don't know, again, watch the other podcast with me and Neil Pickup or Devon Larratt. But Devon Matosian saved my ass because I suddenly was paying the bills with Honor TV, and then next day I wasn't, and I had to go get another job, which took my time. But here I am talking to Travis Bagent, and like, you never stopped. You kept hustling and hustling. You're still to this day, like all these years I've been gone, you've still been cracking at it.
100%, yeah, and still looking to find that perfect formula. And you know, like you said, you're trying to pay the bills. So sometimes that dictates your business. Even if it's not the smartest way to do your business, it's the only way for you to survive. And it's a tough, you know, I mean, there's no doubt it's a tough gig, arm wrestling in general. So I'm anxious to attack this now as I'm over 40 years old, and I'm attacking it with someone who already went through all the trials and tribulations. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can bring something new that might end up being the great, and not really new, just fully supported instead of it being just a off event. It's going to be hopefully the most important event of the year. Is what I would love to create if my dreams came true.
Another thing I got from Neil. Neil, I love you, and I hope that this is totally okay. That I listened to your podcast and it gave me 100 questions that I too wanted to ask Travis. Please watch Neil's full in-depth stuff with 4 episodes with Travis. It's amazing. But one thing I don't quite think I realized was you said, it seems to me like this. I'll sum it up like this. Promoters in the world want Travis Bagent to stay in the arm wrestler box. They want you to stay in that box. Arm wrestler. You come to compete at my event. Once Travis decided to step out of that box, people gave you pushback. Like you said, Karen Bean, Leonard Denise, they didn't like you promoting tournaments. That's what you were getting at? Is that
well? I mean, let's just be. I mean, I'm first of all, what I don't want this show to turn into is the Travis Bagent bashing everyone, right? However, the fact of the matter is that when I'm 19 years old, it is clear that I am a beacon of light to these promoters. They can't get enough of the trash talking, the hype, the everything, until it gets till you get a little too big for your britches. So, and I'm not talking just about me. I'm talking for any promoter in the United States. Your route was to go underneath the umbrella of either the Leonard Denises or the Karen and Franks, right? So you would sanction a tournament underneath them. You would give them all the emails or addresses, and or they would give you the emails and addresses of the locals that, there was no internet. So we're sending out. So these were valuable contacts. If you could it wasn't easy to get Ron Bass' phone number in 1997. Okay. You had to call Karen, right? And then you had to hope that Karen gave it to you, right? So for me, my relationship became Karen's golden boy, right? Which would be just Bob O'Lear's former business, the AAA, being just taken over by Karen and Frank, and me arm wrestling there for a while, and then me trying to run my own tournaments. Karen, kind of including herself in there so that she could keep tabs on the situation. And then as soon as you attempt to go too big, then she pulls away, and then all of a sudden you're a cancer to the organization, and she doesn't want to do business, and none of her arm wrestlers want to come to the tournaments anymore. So that's the way it used to. And then as soon as you go through that feeling, right, then here swoop in Leonard Denise. Now, if you were a West Coast guy, this happened to you with Leonard Denise. You became their person. And then once you had a problem with them, meaning you didn't buy their trophies or you didn't buy their gear, or you tried to put a tournament somewhere near their event, all of a sudden you're evil. You have to be annexed from the situation. You cannot be under the umbrella. Then you, of course, get a call from the other side, whether you get a call from Karen saying, yes, Denise is always doing that, or you get a call from Denise saying, Karen did it to you again, when really that was both of their business model, which I have no problem with, right? They were in the business, and anybody who was attempting to take over territory was befriended and then made evil by the organization.
The reason I brought it up is because the Worlds got canceled, and I heard you say something on Facebook that wasn't, and I was like, are you telling me Travis Bagent and Denise Waddles is not buried to hatchet? I want you on camera, because I love all those guys. I want you on camera. If you want to go forward with me, I need you to bury that hatchet, bro. Whatever it is that happened between you guys.
I have no hatchet, okay? This is what has happened to me for the last 12 years. For the last 12 years, I will announce a tournament, and Leonard and Denise will come on to the announcement and talk about how uncredible the announcement is. Out of nowhere, then they will call the venue and attempt to get the event canceled, right? They will call your sponsor and attempt to get them to stop sponsoring the event. It is really crazy. So do I think that Leonard and Denise are crooks? The fact is they're not, right? Do I think that they do a great job with arm wrestling? Hell no, I do not think so. I think that they do not. However, I have no hatchet. I know that, and I have no problem with you disagreeing that. I'm just telling you that I have zero respect for the way they have handled this hatchet. Okay? Now, do I think that they canceled those tournaments on purpose and stole people's money? No. It was the COVID, and it was a big problem. However, if I was running a tournament and a tornado came in the night before and destroyed the whole building, Leonard and Denise would write underneath, Travis knew there was going to be a tornado, and he stole all your money. So only thing that I did was be super childish. And so the truth is, it's so easy for me to bury that hatchet because I don't have a problem with them. I just love to reciprocate some of the nonsense that I have been put up with over the years. So if that is required of you, that I don't, be mean or say stuff about Leonard Denise, no problem, because that's really easy for me. You should also get them to do the same, but you don't have to. I don't care if they say stuff about me, but because I love you, I have no problem not saying anything about it.
Here's the thing. When I first got into the sport, Harold Ryan set me down and I asked him to give me a 5-minute recap of like what the organizations look like. And he basically did bring up, he's like, it's basically us versus them sort of thing, AAA, USA. And he said, arm wrestlers don't come across. And I right away, I was like, that's not how I'm going to do business. I want to cover every organization, every blah, 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 blah. And that's what I tried to do. I tried to unite everyone. And I think it was a good philosophy. Becoming friends with all the promoters, I think was a great thing. The irony is, one, it's why I have so much great footage to share with people for the next 9 years. But sadly, if I look forward to coming back into the sport, I have to be picky and choosy because I can't just go film everything like I used to, because I need to have some sort of control over.
Mom, there's 3 million people going to watch this. I'm just making sure. If I don't care, as long as you understand. Go ahead.
So Gary Roberts coming back into the sport, I don't know if it would be under the same scenarios as before, but I want to think that there's room for all promoters to befriend each other and support each other. And like if you're trying to grow the sport and you have this many arm wrestlers, but you have worlds of people that don't even know about the sport yet, then it seems to me that we should not be hurting each other in this tight little community. Anyways, if anyone is calling anyone sponsors, that's not okay. I plead for anyone not to be doing any of that business.
Very strange.
But
that's your people. That's your people doing that. That's your people out west. That's a West Coast people doing
that. Regarding everyone, there's like specifically Leonard Denise and Karen and all those guys. Had they not been doing what they've been doing for all those years, there wouldn't be room for people like you and me to be dreaming up these other ideas, because there wouldn't be anything. Like the arm wrestling world exists because of those promoters.
It exists because of those promoters in your lifetime. But the fact of the matter is neither one of those people started arm wrestling. Right. Exactly. So no doubt. Yeah. So 40 years from now, it's not going to be Leonard Denise. It's going to be the people who are born now that end up taking over. And if you've been arm wrestling for 7 years, to you, Sean Hancock and the WAL, they're the guys who have forged our arm wrestling thing. So, just because of our era, we don't have to owe everything to those people. Those people went to work. They learned a trade. They were brought into arm wrestling for whether it was the love of competing or from a business standpoint. They learned how to work it, and they decided to capitalize.
I lost you.
Someone called. Sorry. He'll probably call again.
So when we were talking, you said, I want someplace, like when a new arm wrestler comes in, where do they go? Like, how do you know about, like, I'm kind of the place of a new arm wrestler at the moment because I've been out of it for so long. Like Harold gave me the 5-minute spiel on the state of arm wrestling. I'm going to ask you, like, let's say a new arm wrestler and me, we're watching this for the first time. Give me the 5-minute spiel of organized arm wrestling today. What is it? I'm a little lost. I have no idea what's going on. I see the walls doing cool things, but wall down, I don't know. What?
Yeah, well, it's really awesome actually right now. So I would be very surprised that any person that wanted to get into arm wrestling, there's a simple little process, okay? I'm going to give you an email. The email is travisbagent1@gmail.com. It's very simple. You'll say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I live at so-and-so address. Are there any arm wrestlers in my area? And after you get done sending me that email, you go right on Instagram, right on Facebook, and right on Twitter. and you put the same text out there. And there's going to be about 35 people, including myself, that put that on their search engine. And we are going to find out where the local group is that has an arm wrestling table that you can get to. So that's step one. Then step two is to just punch arm wrestling in, and voila, it's all going to pop up. You're going to get the WAL. You're going to get the Professional Arm Wrestling League. That's going to give you the NFL and the high Power 5 college football, right? Like that's what you're going to get exposed to. Then you're going to go to that first little practice because we're going to set it up. I'm so cool. I'm going to send a message and vouch for you so that you can then go to a private club. They're going to welcome in like you're my cousin, right? Whoever this person is. And then that person's going to tell you where this group of arm wrestlers competes, whether it's 2 weeks from now at the county fair, or they have to drive 7 hours next August for their big event. You can either stay in that little bubble, or you can slowly keep asking more questions on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and at travisbagent1@gmail.com. And it will take you, with all the information out there, you're 10 days away from being, unless you're a weirdo, invited to a club once, twice a week and on your way.
Okay, a few days ago, I saw Devon Larratt announce something about an app, ArmBets. Do you know anything about that?
I do not. I don't know anything, but I'm sure it's a networking opportunity, right?
Yeah. How?
Right.
Why haven't you done something like that? That sounds like.
Well, Devon's state of the art here now. I mean, Devon's got somebody working his Instagram. Devon's the man. So I do not know who is working with Devon, but there's somebody a hell of a lot sharper than him that's in charge of what he's up to. And I applaud him. He has, he's taken arm wrestling from an arm wrestler in the internet and promoting himself to an outstanding place, and a place where I think other arm wrestlers are going to aspire to be, which only builds that bubble bigger. So I don't know what Devon's involved in, but I will tell you this: Devon is a great reference, and I call him a lot and ask him questions and ask for his opinion on things. So if that networking tool exists and I figure out that that's the tool to use, then I would just take that email from any arm wrestler, or wherever it come from, we can just post it here. But the fact is, it's not that hard to find out where the closest practice is. And when I say practice, you just need to get on a real arm wrestling table. And then from there, how competitive your brain is and how great your finances are will determine whether before long you're hosting practice at your house, right? So that's totally up to you.
Okay, so just go back for 1 second. When I was in the sport of arm wrestling, what I loved about Arm TV was it's a very good metric for measurement of the size of the sport. Like I had, on average, 500 paying customers who would pay 10 to 20 bucks to watch arm wrestling. That to me told me there's 500 fanatic arm wrestlers, but they weren't fanatical enough to stay on all the time, because over the course of 10 years, I had 2,500 members. So I had 2,500 members cumulative, but never more than 500 at a time. I like that because it gave me a measurement tool. And then I come back into the sport and everyone's like, oh my gosh, arm wrestling is blown up. Blown up by how much? How many more arm wrestlers are there? Let's say that's exactly what it was. 2,500 active arm wrestlers during my period. I don't know if that's true, but let's just pick a number, 2,500, because that's how many members, that's how many hands I shaked or signed up. How many active arm wrestlers are there today, 2020?
Good question. That's a great question. Now, can you define the word active? So somebody who
would have signed up for ArmTV. They're like, I need to watch
someone
videos.
Who would have signed up for ArmTV. I would say the number has increased, right? but I don't know if it's blowed up. But I think it has increased. I mean, I'm praying and hoping that we have not taken a step back. And, you know, the fact of the matter is there are big tournaments that don't give money away, which makes me think that we are alive and well. And that maybe that number's 4,000 now rather than 2,500.
Here's another measurement. I hosted the ROTN 2006 or 2007, 8, 9. 2009, I had 120 entries. It was like 60 arm wrestlers, paid out $20,000 to 6th place. I thought at the time, I mean, that was a good amount of money. And I'm like, why didn't I draw 200 entries? I gave away kick-ass medals. If I right now announce I'm giving away $20,000, pretty much similar payout, cool medals 6 months from now, am I going to get more than 120 entries it was $50 an arm?
You're not going to get any more in Kansas City. However,
why?
It's just the way it is, right? Nothing's changed. However, there are a few hubs and a few people. Like if you ran that tournament with Paul Lynn in Pennsylvania, you might have 550 entries. If you ran it with Steve Pettis at the Michigan State, you might have 400 entries. You know what I mean? Like, but if you go back to Kansas City, where it's been dormant, not that we don't have Brian Kerner out there and he's a beast, but I think you're looking, and that $20,000 kept some people away too, right? Because along with that money comes the real truth, right? And the real truth is scary, right? We've talked about this for years. Arm wrestlers are comfortable when they're winning, or at least they have a chance to win. So you give them any risk and it makes them really look at their opportunity. And a lot of times the math doesn't add up, and they really don't want to be exposed.
So you're saying if I gave away $10,000, I might have had 150 entries?
No, I'm not saying that. I don't know if there is a number there, but I will tell you this.
Does the high numbers scare away people because they think,
but what would have been better for you to do is to give $5,000 to the geographical location that would have benefited you the most. You had to go to Kansas City because that's where the money was. But the fact is, if he would have gave you that money in the mail and told you to go anywhere you want, you probably would have stayed in California, right?
Okay. Yeah, well, that would have been easier to promote a tournament.
And there's some more arm wrestlers within driving distance. Once you hit that Kansas City Midwest area, the neighbors are 5 hours away. So you're not going to draw from multiple states. There's only 4 states around Kansas City. If not, you got to damn fly, right? If you have that tournament now, I'm telling you right now, Gary, you have that tournament in Pennsylvania with Paul and James Reed, and we have whatever format you want, and you're going to see the numbers. You're going to see them because Paul's a great guy, and everybody's committed to the brand. And it's pretty cool to watch.
And I don't want to jump ahead. I was going to ask another question. Let's come back to that. So I get back into the sport. I explained it in one of the podcasts. Again, if you don't know, I did a podcast with Neil and Devon. I don't want to re-go through everything that went over there. Again, if somebody's already done it correct way, I don't want to rehash, but I mean, I came back into the sport for selfish reasons. I was talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, I talked to people, they don't even know what RMTV was. And I was like, really, like, that's bullshit. I want to remind people what we did. And anyway, so I started getting bombarded with all these messages. It's different now. Oh my God, arm wrestling is blown up. You're gonna crush. And my initial thought is, I've heard that before, dude. I'm not gonna get my heart broken. To me, arm wrestling is very much like an abusive relationship. I love it, but at the same time, my girlfriend.
It doesn't always love you back. It doesn't always love
my girlfriend beats me up a few times. And
we hope you like the content. Thanks for stopping by. Please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Now click that little bell icon so you get notified. This was Gary Roberts and Travis Bagent live.
Damn it! Do something else. Don't ever say them two names to me